Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out. Pro wrestling podcast about pro wrestling. It's a new year. It's a new me. It's a new we. I'm Blade Daily, and I'm joined this week by one of our most recurring guest hosts because we have such great conversations about wrestling and because of the particular topic we're talking about today. I am joined by the one, the only, Antoine Rafaela.
Hello. Happy new now. Happy 2026. I'm doing fantastic.
Yes, sir. It is quite a new year already. And, you know, in the wrestling world, there is a very particular way we celebrate the new year. And that's not on the 1st. It's not on the 31st. It's on the 4th. And we're going to get to all that. But how you been, man? What's new for you?
Well, as you might hear a little bit of my voice, I'm coming off being a little bit sick. For me, new in this new year, I want to be just a little more of me, a little more positivity. I think we're all going to need it coming up in this new year. So I'm even thinking about just starting on Threads, just the daily thoughts that I'm going to put together for myself, because mental wealth is health, and share that with the world. And it will be just on thoughts of the day. Just
absolutely
on anything. So looking to expand, grow more myself, because as we all know that if you don't grow, if you say you're perfect now, you're not done growing, then there's no point in living this life.
Yeah, that's true. You know, we always got more we can do. And that's a good message for everybody out there is like, whatever, you know, this time last year on this exact day, I was about 50 pounds heavier. I was in a very, very frustrated part of my life. I had the podcast and that was going great, you know, but I had so many other things that I needed to deal with. And it's so crazy how different my life is now from just a year ago.
Just a year.
And we've been through this, you know, politically, we've been through this really intense time where, you know, we're kind of like having just, stuff thrown in our faces constantly. We're having, you know, we're being threatened by our own government at times. We're really trying to just kind of weather a lot of things right now. So I guess, you know, just riffing on what you said there, Antoine, take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves. You know, when you have the opportunity to relax, just let yourself do it, you know, because we got to be strong right now, folks. And part of being strong is being together. Okay. Like the whole thing about this podcast and about Sickos Club and about all that stuff, it's a community. It's a group. You know, we're here to be together in this weird world of pro wrestling and life. And so we hope that you guys are doing well. We hope that you guys are taking care of yourselves. But we got one hell of a show to discuss, Antoine, because there is...
Oh, if I may, by the way, to everybody out there who can't see him, oh yeah, my man looks that darn good after 365 days. Or you can tell. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, well, see, you saw me quite a while ago. You know the deal. But yes, so it's we're doing this thing now. We're on Fridays. If you want to, you can jump in our live chat. You can hang out with us on YouTube as we tape the episode. We'd love for you to do that. We got a single track for this episode, and that is to discuss the incredible, unparalleled, fantastic career of Hiroshi Tanahashi. And we're going to do that. But there's one other thing I just felt like we had to address before we start. It's the only thing that's not about Hiroshi Tanahashi in this entire thing, okay? And I just wanted to point out that AEW Dynamite ended in the best way it possibly could this week, where my girl Willow won the TBS title from Mercedes Moné. in what I felt was a really great match. And Mercedes has done such a great job, especially the last few months. I mean, she's always been a great wrestler. You know, she's always going to be a
Absolutely.
great wrestler.
And I'd like to point out that she said the most important thing, which is was a really great match, not just a really great moment.
Right, right. And they have fantastic chemistry with each other. You know, they Willow, you know, I saw somebody's post. I'm sorry, whoever you are. I am totally cribbing from you, but they said, you know, it is very rare that you see somebody who like doesn't compromise at all on who they are and continues to just make that hard-earned progress, and you watch it every week on TV. And Willow has been up for it the whole way through. Every new level that she gets advanced to, she's ready for it. And
Well,
to see her get that win over Mercedes clean in the ring,
clean.
huge, huge.
And the key part of it is you said that everybody should be able to take away just in life in general is she never compromised who she was to get there.
Right, right.
Like you could almost forget that she was TBS champion once before because it
Mm-hmm.
was such a long time ago. Just
Mm-hmm.
not in terms of time, in terms of years, months, days, hours, minutes, or seconds, but just in terms of her potential, her growth, and where she was as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And look at her now, and to have that moment with a match that came with it so perfectly so that the moment could actually mean something that would resonate more than just that night. We would
Mm-hmm.
think about it and be talking about it here on January the 2nd
Mm-hmm.
just because it was so awesome. And I think that goes to both of them. That goes to such a marvelous story
Mm-hmm.
that they knew when to pull the trigger at the right times, especially with Chris and Willow,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you felt like that kind of dragged too much.
Yeah.
But for it to be Mercedes who does it and literally changes the landscape of the entire organization going forward
Mm-hmm.
is a testament to her, to them,
Absolutely.
to all of them, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought that you know, Mercedes just has this legion of haters, and she always will. There's nothing anybody can do to really change that. But she has this legion of just incel weirdos who want to besmirch
Mhm.
literally everything she does. And I'm sorry, y'all. Like, if you're still doing that, I mean, like,
You
get
know,
a
I saw
life.
this really, really good thread earlier today when I was bored,
Hmm.
and I wanna give you the props, but I can't remember
Hmm.
who shared it. But it was Screen Captain, and I went to their profile. But all the people in the replies were just saying that because Mercedes lost, they were so hopeful and just, oh, she can come back to WWE now. And they're just like, oh, that's where we're at now.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, and it's that was Books and Body Slams, I believe, who shared that. And yes, there was
Yes.
the people think that she lost the belt so she could go back to WWE, which
Ah,
doesn't make
yes.
any sense
No,
at all. But
no.
whatever. I think what Tony Khan did very smartly in that show was we needed to end the year on something positive, and
I know.
that was that was such a great way to end Dynamite. I love that AEW, they can book for heat, they can book, you know, for heat, but they understand when to just have the good guys get one, you know, for themselves, and have the crowd just leave feeling really good about something.
What's the
And
last thing you want every one of your fans to think
mhm,
about before the new year starts and the next show comes?
mhm. Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, I remember a few years ago, I think it was that Arcade Anarchy match with the best friends versus like Miro and and Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford got involved and Stat got involved and there was all this stuff. But at the end, they were playing Where Is My Mind? And all of the best friends were like standing on the turnbuckles. And it was like the weird art kids actually got to stand tall at the end of the show.
Yes.
And that was like, as somebody who was a weird art kid myself, that really, really spoke to me. And
guilty as charged.
Yes, this ending with Willow felt very similar. And then, like you said, for them, that was the perfect way to wrap it, was to have this Statlander thing finally resolve. And, you know, I think they were planning for it to resolve at some other point earlier, and then they decided to wait. And at the time, it would have been hard to understand, but you know what? Seeing this moment, it was perfect.
It was perfect because I'm just going to say it. If it had drug on any longer, I just would have lost my ever loving shit. It was just too much. It's like, okay, guys, can you? I just wanted to get it off my chest. I just didn't like it dragging as much because I felt all it did was hold them both back, and it kind of did. And when they stopped doing it, you see where they are now.
Right.
They're the class of the entire company.
Right. Well, and so, you know, and you also have Harley Cameron, who's that bridge, you know, between the two of them because she's friends with both. And so you can kind of see how it was going to play out. And I'm glad that they just, you know, it was just a great moment. And so kudos to AEW, kudos to Tony Khan. There was a lot of cool shit that happened in AEW this week. But Antoine, like I said, that ain't what we're here to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What we're here to talk about, my friend, is the forthcoming retirement.
Yes.
Of one, the ace of the universe, Hiroshi Tanahashi. It's January 3rd, it's January 2nd as we tape this, and at 11 p.m. on January 3rd Pacific time, so like 2 a.m. your time on Sunday, we are going to watch the ace of the universe wrestle his final match.
And we can definitely say we, because there's a lot of people, including me, who will be watching live.
Absolutely. Kaylee Metz 4363 said Mercedes definitely elevated the TBS title. Yes, she did.
Oh my gosh, she really did. Did you notice, as a matter of fact, that when it came to the number of days, the champion, the all-time record was, they never said the name of that person. So they really wanted Mercedes to put her stamp on it, and she is right. She did more for the TBS title than, and I know who I'm comparing her to, than anybody.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. Mercedes, you know, it really, just like the world titles, you know, you want that lineage to be strong. And I think that's what makes title belts matter, is the lineage. You know, sometimes you can even have a very brief title reign, but having that one person's name in the lineage makes it mean more. And having Mercedes'
the quality,
name,
not the quantity. It ain't how long, it's the impact you make with it.
Right. And Mercedes having that belt, taking it all over the world with her. My God. So, as I was saying, tomorrow, mere hours from now.
Yes.
Hiroshi Tanahashi, just a little over 24 hours from now, 36 hours from now, let's say, as we tape this, is going to wrestle his final match against Kazuchika Okada. I kind of can't believe it. I got to be honest with you. I'm not one of those people that gets overly sentimental about retirements in sports or anything. Like, people retire all the time. It's a fact of life.
They
Athletes
go on,
only
they
have
live.
so
It's
long.
not like it's not like their life is over.
Right. And you just only have so long. And so, you know, you do with it what you can. But what Hiroshi Tanahashi has meant to the sport of pro wrestling is almost impossible to fully quantify. But I just wanted to run down a few of his achievements, just a few. Okay. Check this out.
Take your time.
Hiroshi Tanahashi is a record-setting 8-time IWGP heavyweight champion. He is a 2-time IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He is a 3-time IWGP United States Champion. He is a 1-time IWGP Television Champion, a 2-time IWGP Tag Team Champion. He's a 1-time Never Openweight Champion, 6-time Never Openweight 6-man champion. He's a 2-time IWGP U30 champion, a 1-time CMLL Tag Team Champion, a 1-time CMLL Trios Champion, a 1-time CMLL Universal Champion. He is a 2-time New Japan Cup winner and a 3-time G1 Climax winner.
Excuse me, Blade. Did you need to take a drink of water or anything before you continued?
I hydrated before we even started, but
okay.
I see where the concern would come from because, my God, that is a lot. He has been voted a 4-time Tokyo Sports MVP. He is a 3-time most outstanding wrestler as voted by the Wrestling Observer newsletter, a 3-time wrestler of the year as voted by the Wrestling Observer newsletter, 3 years in a row, by the way. 3-time match of the year winner, wrestler of the decade for the 2010s as voted by the Wrestling Observer newsletter, most charismatic of the 2010s as voted by the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and was voted into the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame in 2013. This man is retiring in 2026, and he has already been a member of their Hall of Fame for almost 13 years.
He was Tom Brady before that dude ever even thought he was going to be in the NFL.
My God. It's
and there's a couple of things you did leave out just for the sake of time.
Oh, of course.
I'm gonna throw him in there anyway.
Yeah.
He's won every single solitary tournament that New Japan does offer, with the exception of World Tag League. He is also a former Rev Pro British heavyweight champion as well. And really the builder of the entire relationship between Noah and New Japan, as he was the champion at the time between the first New Japan versus Noah title match.
Yes, right. And he also unified and we'll discuss this in more depth, but he unified the IWGP heavyweight title with the IWGP 3 heavyweight title by defeating Kurt Angle, who had to win it from Brock Lesnar. So this man transformed New Japan. He transformed Japanese wrestling. He brought it, the only promotion that was strong at all in the 2000s for most of that time was Noah. Most of the other promotions were either going out of business, just dragging ass, not really doing very well.
It really wasn't a good time.
It was not.
It really wasn't.
It was not a good time. And, Antonio Inoki started New Japan in 1973.
Inokiism.
Yes. And I'm going to say it. Antonio Inoki lost his damn mind in the 2000s, okay? This guy was very involved as a politician. And he had this weird desire to present wrestling as kind of a work shoot kind of thing. Like,
he was obsessed with the idea of that work shoot, of that whole MMA style. It has to be real. Before the UFC existed, before any of that was talked about, he was very much obsessed with it, and it took them in just the weirdest direction. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, not
Go
at all.
ahead and keep telling them the craziness.
Yes.
Prior.
Yeah. So his weird old man desires to present wrestling as kind of a shoot were very, I think influenced by UWF, UWFI. You had Pride, you had these kind of work shoot promotions, but that's like the style they did. And he was almost like trying to push New Japan, which had not been that, into that direction.
Mhm.
And so it was like some weird combination of 80s Vern Gagne and 2020 Vince McMahon, where it's just like two guys who have totally lost the plot, and
I
everybody around them's probably like, what the hell are you doing? You know?
I will give Mr. Antonio Inoki the credit of one thing.
Mhm.
Under his leadership,
Mhm.
under that crazy I do believe very different time,
Mhm.
Ernie Ladd did become the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and he's the only black IWGP Men's World Heavyweight Champion there has been.
Wow. Okay. Um, yeah, in this period in the 2000s, like you had like Bob Sapp, you had Brock Lesnar, you had Manobu Nakanishi, these guys who were just like, what? Like, um, he put the belt on Shinsuke Nakamura in 2003. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Shinsuke and I are the same age. Shinsuke would have been 23 years old holding the IW. And it's because Inoki thought he looked legit as a real fighter. And,
And I
you know,
apologize, not Ernie Ladd, it was Bob Sapp.
yeah, it was Bob Sapp. Right. And, Nakamura came from this group of three guys who were called the Three Musketeers. Right.
Mhm.
The original Three Musketeers had been Chono, Masahiro Chono, Keiji Muto, and Shinya Hashimoto. And this second group that they called the second Three Musketeers was Hiroshi Tanahashi, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Katsuyori Shibata.
Mhm.
Yep. And so what I found interesting is that Nakamura was beloved by Inoki. Inoki loved Nakamura. Okay. But he would have not liked what Shinsuke Nakamura became. He would not have liked that. Okay. What he liked was plain Jane Shinsuke Nakamura, who was tall and could kick and punch really well. Right. Um,
He loved
and
it so much that it
yes.
did lead to, you could say it probably led to his eventual decision to come to the United States,
Mhm.
where he was going to deal with a less strenuous schedule and
Mhm.
work rate, period. At one point,
Absolutely.
Shinsuke had to give up the entire title because he was too hurt to defend it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Shibata in like I believe it's 2005 leaves New Japan and goes they say he kind of went independent, but he went to Noah. I mean, that's where he did most of his work,
Yeah.
and did fantastic work because he didn't feel he could work the way he wanted to in New Japan, which was that kind of shoot style, right? But for whatever reason, he didn't think he was getting the opportunities, so he left. Had a great run over there, and it put a black mark on him in New Japan forever when he came back. But of those Three Musketeers, that original crew, Hiroshi Tanahashi was kind of the overlooked one a little bit. He
He,
wasn't he wasn't overlooked in the sense like nobody cared about him, but it was like Nakamura got the rub a lot earlier than Tanahashi did.
no one had the he didn't have the cameras on him like everybody else
Right.
did.
Right.
I would even compare it, quite frankly, and it's ironic that it's just popped into my head, but it's very ironic. It reminds me of how right now, Shota Umino
Mhm.
was the supposed, all the eyes were on him. All the eyes
Right.
are on him. But guess who is actually the ones that are going to lead the new generation? Yoda
Mhm.
Tsuchi,
Mhm.
Ryohei Oewa,
Mhm.
etc. And that's kind of what it was back then for Tanahashi. Yeah, the
Absolutely.
eyes were over here, but in that wonderful time that you're talking about, in that wonderful time that you're talking about, 2005, 2006, what occurred
Mhm.
was, I oh, it just still boggles my mind.
Mhm.
It's Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Brock Lesnar. The wonderful Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
The one, the one we all know and love.
Yeah.
In all sorts of irony.
Yeah.
But he wins the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And then refuses to defend it.
Yes. So Brock had left WWE in like 2003, 2004, but with a no compete clause that was supposed to be for 10 years or something. They got into this big lawsuit about it because when he didn't work out in the NFL, which was, complete shock. You can't just walk into the NFL and, with no football experience and be a great. But when that didn't work out, he wanted to get back into wrestling. WWE was like, no, you signed this no compete. They went to court. They battled it out. Finally, he was allowed to wrestle, but not in the States for a certain period of time. So he went to New Japan and immediately, Inoki is like frothing in the mouth to put the IWGP title on this guy. And he does. And he beats Shinsuke Nakamura for it. And he was supposed to defend it against Hiroshi Tanahashi in 2006. And he just no-showed. He just said, nope, I'm not coming.
Yep. Bye.
And so they have to do a tournament for the belt. And the tournament is won by Hiroshi Tanahashi. And who does he beat in the finals of this tournament? Do you know the answer?
Holy Lord, you're going to make me hurt because I was just reading about this. Everybody. So I'm going to take the L. So because I don't remember who he beat, but I had so much about everything else. But the one thing I can't remember, you just nailed me on. So go right ahead and tell the whole entire world, please.
It was Giant Bernard. He defeated Albert A-Train. Giant Bernard.
Oh gosh.
And
I knew his name was coming.
I only remember because I watched that match last night in bed. And it's so weird because, A-Train Albert, what was his name when he did that Japanese gimmick when he came back? I forget. Lord something.
Lord Tenzai.
Tenzai. There you go. Yeah.
Tenzon
so he comes
or Tenzai or something.
He comes back and he does that gimmick, which was awful. And basically, he beats him, but it's weird because he's always been this kind of PG-ish, kind of chill guy. And he's like screaming like, fuck you at the crowd. Anytime people come to Japan, they love just swearing at the audience. I've noticed that.
You notice that it's like it's a weird type of freedom that it seems that we in the West get a joy out of. Everybody just loves it, especially if you're a war dog or whatever.
Yes.
They enjoy that freedom very much.
Looking at you, Clark Connors.
And I, when I also think about that time, Brock Lesnar won the belt also, and we have this tournament happening, and he's refusing to come and defend it or even turn the belt over.
Right.
So Antonio Inoki creates this whole entire, I can't even remember the name of the promotion.
The Inoki Genome Project, the IGP.
Genome. Words are very important to me. Genome. So that tells you the state of this man's mental capacities at that time. And I do want to say he is one of the greatest of all time. That's why I honor him every year.
Yep.
But this just was a bad time. But who do they turn to see and save New Japan?
Well,
and it had that tournament.
Yeah, this is a really interesting story. So you have that title that, Hiroshi Tanahashi wins the world title in the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in watching the match, one, his hair wasn't fabulous. Okay. He has this weird rat tail mullet thing. And I'm not used to seeing Tanahashi look anything less than like fucking perfection. You know what I mean?
The only time that was the only time.
Super
so
weird.
we can forgive that.
Oh,
we can forgive it once.
I mean, look, he needs to forgive me for looking like this every day. Okay, like he's Hiroshi Tanahashi. Okay,
I am a proud member of the ball community, but do not touch my man's lovely locks.
Leave the locks alone, and we have a separate section of the show just to talk about his hair. So, Tanahashi wins the world title, but Lesnar still has the old world title. So Inoki creates the Inoki Genome Project as a like separate promotion to hold a show so that Lesnar can drop his IWGP title to somebody so that they can then unify that with Tanahashi's title. And who do they pick? Antoine, do you know that?
Kurt Angle.
It was dun 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 dun. It was Kurt Angle. Lesnar drops the kind of fake IWGP title to Kurt Angle. Then later at a Wrestle Kingdom, okay, at Wrestle Kingdom 2, I believe it was, Tanahashi drops, or no, Tanahashi successfully defends, Angle successfully defends, okay, and then later on, Tanahashi beats Kurt Angle and drops and unifies the two titles.
Yes, with 2 high five flows.
Yes, which was unheard of at the time because it only took one for everybody else. But so basically from there, Inoki's pretty much off and running. Now, when you watch this match with Giant Bernard, aka Albert A-Train, this crowd is not the crowds that you're used to with New Japan. He wins and the crowd's like into it, but they're like still pretty quiet. Like these aren't the rabid wrestling fans that they have today. And this shows you how far Inoki really goes to, or not Inoki, Tanahashi really goes to, kind of generate that excitement in the landscape. And so basically from there, Tanahashi kind of goes on a tear, and he drops and wins back the IWGP heavyweight title a bunch of times. He went on to some of the people he beat for it, and he lost it to some of them. But Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima, Manabu Nakanishi, Keiji Muto at Wrestle Kingdom 3. He beat Keiji Muto.
He had a series with Yuji Nagata.
Yes. And his wins over Nagata and over Muto were kind of the wins where people said, hey, I think this is our guy. And when he beat Muto, that was like a passing of the torch because Muto, he was an All Japan guy by this point, but he was like a legend of New Japan. And so they were able to really, really have just an incredible moment where he beats Keiji Muto clean, and he stands tall as the new ace of the universe. He stands tall as the new people's champ. Did want to read some comments from people real quick. Devil Dinosaur said 30 minutes in and we're still listing title reigns and accolades. I love it. It's Hiroshi Tanahashi, baby.
It's Hiroshi Tanahashi.
And the homie Skewered Universe says, I'm learning so much today. And so are we. I mean, as much as I know about Tanahashi, there's so much still left to learn. That's how big this guy's impact is. But I want to reiterate something because Hiroshi Tanahashi's first time he ever headlined Wrestle Kingdom was Wrestle Kingdom 2.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow will be Wrestle Kingdom 20. And that will also be the 10th time in 18 Wrestle Kingdoms since his first headlining gig. That will be the 10th time he's headlined since that. So think about that. This guy has been the go-to for New Japan. He is the one who put asses in seats. He's the one that really, like you said, Antoine, he made New Japan again. He made New Japan who they were again and took them to a new stratosphere.
He was the go-to. I know we love Kazuchika Okada.
Mm-hmm.
Kazuchika Okada had a absolute god awful, one of the worst periods anybody has ever had to deal with in wrestling, and in total mistreatment in TNA,
Mm-hmm.
and had to come back in 2000. I believe it was 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so amazing to me how it was basically Hiroshi Tanahashi who had to save New Japan from Antonio Inoki, who created the entire doggone thing. So he had to
Mm-hmm.
save it from himself, literally.
Yeah.
And here he is also where I think almost his peak period is, which is the 2010s and on, where he is putting over Kazuchika Okada
Mm-hmm.
clean.
Yeah.
He is putting over um he is starting he's putting over or starting rivalries, excuse me, with what was really getting big at the time, the Bullet Club. So there you
Right.
got AJ Styles,
Right.
and you still got Shinsuke trying to hold on at the remnants of Shinsuke,
Mm-hmm.
Kota Ibushi. You got Tetsuya Naito, who was just starting to really show the side of Tetsuya Naito we were going to see, but he was still kind of starship genius in such a way. But the number when anybody, in my opinion, when they wanted to get anybody over or really show that someone was to be respected or to be looked at as a threat, you have to go through Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you brought up Okada, and I think that's where we should go next. So, in the midst of him being the biggest star in Japan, certainly, and in his absolute physical prime, and I mean, this guy was a fucking beast in his prime. I mean, you look at his body, this guy is
Oh my
jacked to the
gosh.
gills.
He is jacked. Look. I did a lot of Hiroshi Tanahashi just watching today,
Yeah.
going back. And if you notice, nerds like me notice that, when he takes off his robe, he sort of shows it with a little
Mm-hmm.
flair, as we would want to say.
Yep.
But that's because that dude was freaking a washboard. He
Yeah.
was so jacked. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he is in incredible shape. He's in his physical prime. And in 2012, as Antoine said, this guy, Kazuchika Okada, who had been a young lion and gone on excursion to TNA, where they gave him a Kato gimmick based on Bruce Lee's role in the Green Hornet. Um, it,
Racism.
it was so racist, so awful in so many different ways. New Japan literally ended their relationship with TNA over this because he was used so poorly. And it did nothing to help him get ready to come be a main eventer in the States, which is why you go on excursion, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so he returns from excursion and he wrestles at Wrestle Kingdom. I can't remember who he wrestled, but he won. And then I think maybe it was Makabe or somebody like that, but he beats him. And then Tanahashi wins the main event against Minoru Suzuki in a fantastic match.
Yes.
And at the end of that match, Kazuchika Okada walks out in this weird, frumpy black dress shirt with his hair looking all weird. He is not Kazuchika Okada yet. He looks like this dude just rolled out of bed. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's got blonde hair now, but he basically comes up and he's like, Tanahashi, I challenge you. I want to challenge you for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. And at the time, it was kind of a joke because
Really
who the
was.
fuck is this? Like,
Yeah.
there were even people saying, like, God damn it, New Japan just had all this momentum, and Suzuki and Tanahashi just had the match of the year. It was voted match of the year that year. And you guys just had the match of the year, and now, Tanahashi's going to fucking wrestle this dork. So the next month at New Beginnings, Okada and Tanahashi have a match. And in the first match ever, Okada beats Hiroshi Tanahashi, the main man. Beats him. The first time they ever face each other.
Clean. As a heel.
As a heel. If Tanahashi doesn't do that, there is no Kazuchika Okada. Not the way we know him today. Not the way we know him today. There isn't the prestige of the Rainmaker. And they go on to have numerous matches. I think they have 3 Wrestle Kingdom main events against each other. A lot of people called it the rivalry of the 2010s. And it's hard to argue. And Tanahashi
very hard to argue.
And when Okada had his monster run with the world title, Tanahashi was the guy he beat to break Tanahashi's record of most successful defenses. So
look, one of the things that I realized that I almost forgot is actually one of my favorite matches between Tanahashi and Okada wasn't at Wrestle Kingdom. It was actually at the G1, where they wrestled to a draw, which allowed a certain person who was elevating and becoming big on his own, and that person is Kenny Omega.
Yep, 2016. Yeah, where Omega has, the God run where they're getting him ready to challenge Okada, and that, I would say between Tanahashi and Okada and Omega, those are the 2 defining rivalries of the 2010s. I mean, period. The end. Done. Like, those are the 2 defining rivalries of pro wrestling. You're going to call me on this? Are you serious?
I'm going to let it stand.
Oh, okay. All right.
Actually.
All right. I mean, okay. Think about it this way. I am a dork who liked New Japan. I had New Japan World like in 2014, as soon as it came out, right? I was really hyped
as soon as
for
it came out. And that's another thing that actually is very important that we all tend to forget is Okada comes back in 2012. Hiroshi Tanahashi is literally at his peak of powers around the same exact time. The Bullet Club is becoming big. Here comes Kenny Omega, and here comes the New Japan World app 2014. And finally, nerds everywhere like us can get to see what Dave Meltzer would get to see every day. And you had to find some tech genius to find a way to get you to.
Right. And I remember, and really when you're even thinking about talking about Bullet Club, Balor, or, Finn Balor, but Prince Devitt, who did he turn on? Who was his initial target? It was Hiroshi Tanahashi. And so, I mean, he is the genesis of everything that New Japan became and everything that it still is. And his retirement really is the end of that era. It began with him and it will end with him. But, he also, Antoine, you pointed it out. He was a huge reason why Kota Ibushi became the NJPW World Heavyweight Champion, the first World Heavyweight Champion in IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, because previous to that had been the heavyweight, but not the world. So now he became the first one because he merged the Intercontinental and heavyweight titles. And Tanahashi and him had been in a tag team for the year before that. And the year before that, Tanahashi beat Ibushi in the finals of the G1 and took the title off Kenny. That was his last world title win. And what did he do?
Amazing
match. Go watch Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kenny Omega from Wrestle Kingdom in 2019. right before Kenny goes to AEW. It's a fantastic match. But less than a month later, he drops that title to Jay White. He put over everybody. He gave his credibility to everyone.
Everyone.
That they needed him to, you know?
It's very rare that someone in wrestling especially and in life like can give so much to everybody. He gave so much, and yet he still had enough for himself, and he still thought of, I know Harem, I understand, I love him too, but he is still probably the GOAT of the last 15 years. Omega doesn't exist without him. AJ Styles and how we know AJ Styles today doesn't.
Right.
Kazuchika Okada doesn't.
Right.
Even a bit of Tetsuya Naito does not become the Tetsuya Naito who you see today. Well, who you used to see today, doesn't become him without Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Right. Well, and I think that's where this weekend is going to be so impactful because, you know, let's talk a little bit about the man, you know, like there's his accomplishments and his great opponents and his great rivalries and his huge wins. This guy, his favorite wrestlers are Tatsumi Fujinami and Shawn Michaels. Okay. And when you look at his ring gear and his hair and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, no shit. He loves Shawn Michaels, right?
And his after-match parties, which seem to last for like ever and ever as he rocks out. You know what? Shout out to my girl Gina. We know you're at home taking care of a new sicko being brought into the world.
That's right.
But I was watching some old matches, and Don Callis, who this is another reason why Don Callis is the man. He was doing great commentary in New Japan, and he says Hiroshi Tanahashi is the only man who can make the air guitar look cool.
Yes. So I have a story about that, right? So I'd been hearing a little bit about Tanahashi. I was just getting back into wrestling around 2012, and I saw him in PWI's Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and you know, I always read that magazine as a kid. It's how I always discovered new wrestlers, and I saw him. I thought he looked cool and stuff.
Too.
And then I saw his gimmick, and I was like, he's playing air guitar. That's weird. And what I realized about Tanahashi, though, is he's kind of like Superman, okay? Like, I didn't like Superman for a long time, but my friend gave me some really good advice about Superman, which is like, you have to let the weird, wacky shit just happen and not question it and not go, oh, that's ridiculous. It's a comic. Superman's world is kind of ridiculous and silly. But if you can do that and accept who he is within that wacky world, he'll become one of your favorites. Now, Superman is not one of my favorites, but Tanahashi is one of my all-time, definitely top 10, probably top 5. Okay? Like, because after a while, if he stopped doing the air guitar thing, it would have upset me. You know? Like, I thought it was so corny the first time I saw it. And now I'm like, if he ever stops doing the air guitar thing, I'm going to freak out.
It's a part of who he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing that he did was he told the fans at the end of every show, he would tell the fans that he loved them. That was not what they did in Japan. They didn't do stuff like that. That was very weird. Okay?
No, very, very, very strange.
Yes, you wanted to encourage your fans to be strong, to fight, to, you know, rise to your level, that kind of thing. To be a warrior, you know, but you didn't tell the fans you loved them. That's an American thing, you know?
He encouraged a different type of strength.
Yes.
He encouraged for me, he encouraged tenderness, togetherness. Um, I was watching like a series of just like matches, but I couldn't turn them off when the match was over because the interaction and what he does with the crowd
Mm-hmm.
is just, it makes you smile so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
he is so, he is the definition of like being thankful like every day. Like that truly is like a person who is thankful,
Yeah.
and he really shows it every time.
He looks like he's doing exactly what he wants to be doing every time you see
Yes,
him.
that's it right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's
He
like,
is literally living his dream.
yes, yes. Um, and I would just say his passion for wrestling and his undying devotion to his fans and to wrestling, just the sport of pro wrestling, is infectious. Him crying at the end of Omega and Gabe Kidd's match last year at Wrestle Kingdom, he wasn't even in the match. And it's one of the most memorable moments I've ever seen in pro wrestling.
That, and I'd like to point out to anybody, no, that ain't, they don't do that. That's not kayfabe. That was not scripted. That man was that proud. I
Yep.
was that proud of Gabe Kidd.
Yeah. Yeah. He knew New Japan was going to be in good hands. He had just started the road to retirement. He had just announced that. And so it was him knowing like they were going to be okay and that New Japan had the future was right there. And, he's a good friend of Kenny's too, and Kenny and Will
Very good.
Ospreay are going to be at Wrestle Kingdom tomorrow for his last match, which I think is amazing. And, hey, we got homie from last week. Fuck yo mama 2 times is in the chat.
Not just
Says,
once.
no, 2 times.
Oh, okay.
Says, what's up, Blade? What up, Antoine, my brother? And yeah, so I mean, Tanahashi, he has made so many people so much better. A couple things I wanted to point out. One thing is like when he'd be wrestling like a younger baby face that the crowd, like, somebody who has like a little steam behind him, like that the crowd wants to see rise up. If he knew he was going to beat them, he would subtly do little heel shit in the match. Not obvious, but he would like kill their momentum a couple times, get the crowd to boo him. He wouldn't try to like steal their heat back. He would get heat on himself and get them cheered louder. You know what I mean? Like,
and I would like to actually, what you're saying right now is like literally what he's been doing for the past, especially the past 100 days, but the past year.
Yeah.
Like it's been amazing watching. If anybody can get, if you can get access to New Japan World, it is worth the money that that they charge for it. But a lot of times they are very good about putting up stuff for free. So I really hope that they put up for free some of the old matches. But oh my gosh, I just lost myself
in the wonder of Tanahashi, baby.
I sure did.
Let's talk about another wonderful thing about Hiroshi Tanahashi, and we all got to acknowledge it. Okay, it's undeniable, right? Most things in wrestling are subjective, but this one thing, this is not. That man has the most beautiful hair in the history of this business. Okay, and I defy anyone to find better hair in the history of pro wrestling than Hiroshi Tanahashi.
I don't want to hear it, Dolph Ziggler fans. I don't want to hear it about Kenny Omega.
No.
I don't want to hear it, Shawn Michael fans.
Hell no. Shawn doesn't even have any hair.
Look, I don't want to hear it. I'll throw mine in Ron Simmons. How about that? But,
there you go.
But as a member of the bald community, man, that man has such luscious locks. I actually saw a match when he was still a young lion or just coming out, and it was against Manabu Nakanishi. Nabanishi.
Yeah, that's his first match. Yeah.
and he had red short hair.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh,
Yep.
I hadn't seen that one before.
I
And
know.
I was
I
like,
know.
oh my God.
Yep.
Oh,
So weird. Like, so
so
weird.
weird.
But Mike, if you have any question about the fundamental goodness of Hiroshi Tanahashi, I'm not saying the man's a saint by any stretch, okay? But the fundamental goodness of Hiroshi Tanahashi, who has put more chemicals in their hair, who has heated their hair, frizzed their hair, done all kinds of crazy shit with their hair more than Hiroshi Tanahashi? Answer, no one. And look at that man's hair. It's still beautiful, still perfect, okay? He's still got a beautiful head of hair after all that. Somebody's on his side is what I'm saying. I think it's God.
Can you not clone a person, but just clone their hair?
Yeah. I think he is probably the cure to male pattern baldness.
I really think he might be.
Yeah, now that we're saying it out loud, it makes perfect sense. So in addition to being the cure for male pattern baldness, in addition to being one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, in addition to possibly being the only person who ever loved New Japan Pro Wrestling as much as Antonio Inoki did, Hiroshi Tanahashi is now the president of New Japan. I can't think of anyone better.
There is no one better. I was still shocked a little bit when I heard the announcement, just because Hiroshi Tanahashi has never struck me as someone who wanted to be a part of corporate America, or not, excuse me, just corporations, period. So when he did that, it was like a big sigh of relief as a big New Japan fan that he did. I didn't care if he had any experience or anything or whatnot. No experience with money, fiscal. They hire people like that. You could hire somebody for that.
Yep.
You knew that the New Japan was in the hands of somebody who absolutely cared and took over really at a time where New Japan was losing its stars left and right.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay gone. Kazuchika Okada gone. Katsuyori Shibata gone. Tomohiro Ishii full-time gone. He brought in some Jay White, who he put over, who he helped to make a star, gone. And yet, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they didn't really go anywhere. They went to AEW. Yes, they're great partners. And they're great partners because of him, because I could not fathom how the average American business person would react if they kept losing all of their best people and decided to take the American approach, which is, me, greed. He did not take that approach. He did not. What can we do to work together? Because these are all people who wanted to grow even more, but have such loyalty and love for New Japan that a lot of them would work for those months. Will Ospreay was famously working for like 6 months before he went to AEW for New Japan for free.
Right. Well, and the thing too is I think that there's people forget that for the first 2 years of AEW, they weren't partners. Okay. And New Japan had really
not at all.
Really hard feelings towards AEW and towards Tony and the Elite. And I remember specifically during the pandemic, they had these little talk shows where they'd have these little roundtable discussions. And it would be, whoever, Tiger Hattori and, Hiroshi Tanahashi and like some old wrestlers sitting around a table talking about stuff. And they were talking about the greatest Gaijin wrestlers that had ever been in New Japan. And Tanahashi said, I know you guys aren't going to want to hear this, but the best Gaijin wrestler we've ever had is Kenny Omega. And that was like taking the Lord's name in vain to these people, okay, by saying Kenny Omega's name. But Tanahashi said it, and he's like, I don't know how we can sit around and say anybody else right now. Like, it's Kenny, you know, like.
And you mentioned a time that a lot of people forget. At the beginning, when AEW was formed and Kenny Omega had left and Hiroshi Tanahashi had put him over in a 5-star match, by the way. You really got to watch that match. It's that good.
Mm-hmm.
But they were not partners whatsoever. I remember living here in Jacksonville when AEW was formed and going, okay, this is the closest chance I'm going to get to seeing my favorite New Japan stars ever. Mm-hmm. I hope they do that. I hope that they do business right. I hope they do. And fortunately, cooler heads prevailed and the future was seen brightly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's been enormously beneficial to both sides in a lot of ways, because AEW simply being created gave the wrestlers all across the industry, no matter where you are, it gives you more leverage, right? Because there's not just one place that can give you a big contract and nobody else, right? So AEW
Ring of Honor is known as a place where New Japan wrestlers and Stardom wrestlers will come when they want to wrestle, but not necessarily be on a wide audience.
Right. Well, and I think so. You now have, like, for instance, Kazuchika Okada got signed away from New Japan by AEW, but the alternative is he would have just gone to WWE, and he's headlining Wrestle Kingdom tomorrow with Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah, under contract to AEW. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's been a very beneficial partnership for both sides long term, and I think the exposure that New Japan has gotten on AEW TV,
yes,
that's more exposure than they got in all of the years they had a partnership with the original Ring of Honor.
It really has been. And as a New Japan geek, it's been so exciting for me. Like when people just ask, who is that? What is that? Or maybe they don't know about what they did in the past. And I'm like, sure, I'm happy to answer. This is so much fun. And I know what's coming.
Well, and who headlined the first Forbidden Door pay-per-view? Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Who came up with the name?
Right. We say Forbidden Door because Hiroshi Tanahashi coined the phrase. Like, the dude did everything. Everything. And I'm sure you saw this, Antoine. It was about a week ago. He cut this promo after his last, I think it was his last Kirk Hall show, where he was like, how did 2025 go by so fast? Like,
yes.
And he starts tearing up and he's having a hard time with it. I cried. I don't cry for wrestling shit. Okay. I love wrestling, but not to the point of tears. Doesn't mean I like it less. It just doesn't make me cry. Hiroshi Tanahashi, though, that dude can bring it out of me. Okay. So
I'm an emotional person. I'm an empath like that. And I was just going, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Fuck Yo Mama 2 times says, Antoine, you from Duval, South Florida here. Oh, and Fuck Yo Mama 2 times also said,
from Duval.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say not originally, but I am here in Duval.
Nice. Fuck Your Mama 2 times also said Juice is the only one who can compete with Tana, I think, for hair. And let's not forget Tana is the one who coined the name Forbidden Door. So we had some people helping us out over here. Thank you, Fuck Yo Mama. I love that I have to say that repeatedly on the show. But that's an amazing username, and we appreciate it.
He is right about that, though. Back in the day when Juice was first starting in New Japan, boy, that dude had some hair.
Well, that
I'll
mullet
give it
that
to
he's
the white
rocking
boy.
right
He
now
do
is
got
pretty
some
cool.
hair.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Juice has some
yeah.
cool hair. But tomorrow, like, so a lot of the people that we saw reacting to John Cena's retirement, I this is not to discredit John Cena or anybody who likes John Cena, okay?
No,
But
not at all.
but for me, I think I feel the way a lot of those people felt about John Cena about Hiroshi Tanahashi. And what's weird about it is I didn't grow up with Hiroshi Tanahashi. I was an adult by the time he started becoming a star. You know, I was in my mid 20s. Okay. But I have sat at the foot of this man's success with my eyes wide open going, how the fuck is this guy real? For so long now. There just isn't going to be another guy like Hiroshi Tanahashi. There won't be because there can't be. But I bet you he would say there will be plenty more great ones just like me because that's the guy he is. And when you scale the pantheon, my roommate, so I got two quick Tanahashi stories before I'm done. My roommate calls him Prom Mamahashi, okay? Because my roommate's Korean. And he said, this was my ex-roommate, by the way. We don't live
Yeah, I
together.
want to hear this story. Please,
Yeah.
take your time.
So he's Korean, and he says this reminds him of a Korean girl's mom on her prom night going and getting her hair done to look better than her daughter. That's Tanahashi's. That's how he describes Tanahashi's hair. So we always called him Prom Mamahashi, but it was intended as a compliment. But he also says that his Mount Rushmore is 3 Bret Harts and a Tanahashi. So so that's the kind of rarefied air we're talking about here, you know, and watching this guy go tomorrow and say his final goodbyes, I'm going to be extremely emotional. I can tell you that much. And I love the way that he's done this. I love that he's traveled the world. I loved at Forbidden Door, you know, this year where they let him get the win in the cage match. It's going to be really, really powerful. You got any more parting thoughts for us, Antoine?
I do. I'll try to be short. That never seems to happen, but I'll try.
No rush.
I feel about Hiroshi Tanahashi in a way that surpasses even how I feel about the contributions to the business that someone like Sting has. He's even greater. The people who feel that way for John Cena, I go, you can times that by 20.
Yeah.
Because that's the real deal over there.
Mm-hmm.
And as y'all find out, some of John Cena is very manufactured. So tomorrow is unfortunately the end of that era of him being in the ring. And there was nobody else that it could or it should have been than Kazuchika Okada.
100%.
The show that I watched where it all happened after the match and he is just talking away and livening up the crowd, and out of nowhere comes Kazuchika Okada out of nowhere, and I just lost my shit. I was just like, all this year I've just been waiting for, he's saying his last match is at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm like, there's only one person. Come on, if y'all have anybody else. And it's why my lovely community I was saying, and I will take that, yes, I was right. And why I said at the beginning of the C2, there was absolutely no way that either Okada or Takeshita were going to win, namely because they needed at least that bit of time to get ready and prepare, especially Okada, with all the interviews he's going to do, with all the specials that they're doing. There is a wonderful special that's up on New Japan Pro Wrestling about Kazuchika Okada, and another one about Tanahashi as well. That's one thing that I love about the app is they do history like nobody's business better than anybody. That's why I pay the money for them. You can get the shows everywhere else. You won't get everything that you want to know about why it's important, but from them. But one of the main contributions I want to talk about that have happened under his watch that we haven't touched on is the relationship with Stardom.
Okay.
And how absolutely vital and important that is. Because it wasn't long before he became president. Someone out there correct me if I'm wrong, but that is when Stardom became a part of Bushiroad. And I begged when Twitter was a safe place for people like us. I used to just bother the heck out of Chris Charlton and then Kevin Kelly when they were there. All the time about why are Stardom women not on these pay-per-views? Why are they not on the shows if they're run to the same company? And he said that they were always working on that. Well, under the last barely 2 years of his presidency, working with Stardom, getting the IWGP Women's World Heavyweight Championship out there, having it consistently defended on the Stardom shows, getting it more defended on the New Japan shows when you're defending the IWGP Championship. But bringing two sides of the wrestling world together that many people don't realize they don't like to mix, that dark side of wrestling that we always know. Yeah, they don't want to mix the ladies over here. Well, now that is happening and it is exploding because of it. And I think we are all who are fans are safe in knowing where the company is going, because the world will never be the same without somebody like him who made his sweat be so important that people would freaking wait after the match just so he would.
Oh no. We lost Antoine. Oh, no. Well, thank you all for joining us. I'm Blade Daily. Yeah, I'll post this tomorrow. Until next time, I'm gonna do that again. Until next time, I'm Blade Daily. Pro wrestling forever.